Yeah, that's great. You mentioned, the ESG work you're doing, and there is a lot of legislation being developed around greenhouse gas emissions inventories and disclosure. Can you just give us an overview of specifically the California Senate Bill 253 and 261? That's we're getting a lot of interest in these, and I know they're evolving.
Yeah, yeah, that's probably a nice way to put it. For those of us in this space, it's a bit challenging, I think, to stay up on all of the twists and turns with the California uh, climate saga. But the climate legislation, SB 253 and 261, and um, just for ease of speaking, I think we'll refer to them as the California sort of climate disclosure legislation collectively. Those two bills really are the most extensive greenhouse gas emission disclosure laws that we currently have in the country. And so SB 253, which is the Climate Corporate Data Accountability Act, requires both private and public companies doing business in California above the threshold of $1 billion in revenue to report both scope 1, 2, and 3 greenhouse gas emissions data. And obviously, the inclusion of scope 3 is sort of what makes the regulation here particularly challenging because those compliance requirements then are typically through the supply chain going to fall to smaller and medium-sized businesses. So that's why a lot of clients initially may say, "Hey, we're below that $1 billion revenue threshold, and so we don't, are we gonna have to sort of contend with this?" And the answer is maybe, right? If you are in the supply chain of a company that maybe does meets the reporting entity definition, they're then in turn going to turn to you for lots of information. So you're going to have to be ready to provide that. SB 261, which is the Climate Related Financial Risks Act, requires companies doing business in California with at least 500 million in revenue to report on their climate related financial risk and obviously measures taken to reduce and adapt to such risk. And that bill provides a definition for climate related financial risk, and it's defined as material risk of harm to immediate and long term financial outcomes due to physical and transition risk. So that includes things like corporate operations, your supply chain, employee health and safety, your financial investments, looking at shareholder value, consumer demand, economic health. Those disclosures under 261 have to be reported in accordance with the final report of recommendations of the Task Force on Climate-Related Financial Disclosures, or TCFD. And TCFD's recommendations include disclosures about climate-related governance and strategy and risk management metrics. And again, I think the reaction is that SB 261 obviously is going to also impact companies because of the low dollar threshold. And again, we're looking at both private and public.
The private and public thing has really opened up a lot of eyes here. There's a number of companies that we've been working with that are private, and they're suddenly realizing they have to meet these regulations. And like you said, we're finding a lot of them also that are in the supply chain that even though they don't meet any of the thresholds, are getting asked by the companies they're supplying to start pulling this information together. So it's really expanded the reach, which is really interesting.